Namaste everybody, Irina here. Thank you for joining this video. I invite you to find a quiet place somewhere in your home, unroll the mat and find a cross-legged seated position. We're going to start the practice very shortly. So I'm continuing to take you on the adventure through the 7 energetic centers in the body, also known as chakras. And in this video we are on the 6th chakra of the series, known as Ajna Chakra. So this is your third eye or psychic center. What is the energy of this chakra? Well, first of all, the location. As I've mentioned, this is the space between the eyebrows. The color of this chakra is indigo, and the sound associated is Om. Due to its location, it's very close to hypothalamus, to pituitary gland and pineal gland. Also, with the physical location, we are close to the eyes, the nose and ears. So a balanced energy from the physical point of view would mean that you have no blockages, you have no ailments in this area, in the face. Also, this is the hormonal balance, because the pituitary gland is the master gland within the body, which then controls the rest of the glands and secretes certain hormones. Also, pineal gland is the gland that releases the melatonin, the chemical that regulates the sleep pattern. So well-balanced health, hormonal health, good sleep patterns would indicate that the energy in this chakra is balanced. What about the emotional and a mental point of view? Well, as I've mentioned before, it's a psychic center, so this chakra associates with the connection to your higher self, to clarity, wisdom, creativity. So it's like connecting to your true self through opening the third eye chakra. It's also connected to your psychic abilities. However, I'm not going to go into the details of the psychic abilities. I don't have any, and I think probably this is something, it's another spiritual path that if you wish you may to explore. In this video we're going to be working to balance the energy in this chakra through the physical body. So the balancing asanas, the asanas that require you to focus, is the way to open up the third eye, and also inversion asanas, also helping to balance the energies. I would say this practice is designed for probably intermediate level of yoga practitioners, just because at the end of it we are going to be practicing the headstand. And if you're absolute beginner, I would probably recommend to start your journey from the basic poses and progress gradually to the inversions. Okay, so we are in the cross-legged seated position. If you do practice half lotus or full lotus, please do so. But if there is any pains and aches while you're getting in the half lotus pose and it's acute pain, I would recommend to start with Sukhasana and then gradually progress to half lotus or full lotus within the body. So when the body opens up, when it's time for you to practice it, you will know. Okay, so bringing both of the palms on the knees. I'm creating a mudra just by pressing index finger and the thumb towards each other. The palms are opening up. Your gaze is closed. Direct your awareness into the space between the eyebrows. try not to set the expectations, and to think about what should or shouldn't be feeling, or what do I need to expect when the energy flows into that chakra. Let's not make any assumptions, not labeling anything. Let's leave the concepts. Just pure awareness in that space. Your chest is open, the back is straight, the facial muscles relaxed. And the breath is becoming deeper. Your exhalations and inhalations are as close to each other lengthwise as possible, but without any strain. If you wish to bring a pause between the inhalation and exhalation, you can do that, just to retain the breath for a split of a second on the end of your inhale. And then exhale. And then retain the breath for 1 second on the exhalations when the belly drops to the spine. And let's start introducing the gentle movement into the neck. So start circling. You can open the gaze at this point, or you can keep it closed if you wish. And change the rotation to the other side. And back into the center, and let's get into the shoulders. So you can release the mudra and position your hands with palms down on the knees, and notice the sensations in the shoulders, in the chest, in the shoulder blades. Change the rotation of the movement to the other side. And back into the center. Move slightly forward. So we're going to start the forward fold with your hands extending. Take your time, don't rush. And then open up your arms to the sides. At this point, the forehead may be dropping to the floor. Then bring your hands behind you and interlace the fingers and bring the arms up and to fold slightly forward. Gently coming back into the center. Going into the all four, so we're going to start in the tabletop position. And here, making sure that your hands are under the shoulders and the knees. If you need to have a cushioning under the knees, so placing something underneath. Okay, inhale, let's do the arching, and exhale, rounding through the back and looking at the navel. Inhale, drawing the shoulders back. Exhale, rounding, tucking the toes, lifting the knees and pressing into the Adho Mukha Svanasana. So start applying the pressure into the wrists. So we're putting weight. That's what I mean by applying pressure. Walking through the feet. And let's create some space in the chest. So round through the back, shift your weight forward. You can go slightly over the wrist with the shoulders.
and then pressing back. So we're going to start opening up through the underarms, also building the strength in the upper body and putting some weight into the wrists and pressing back. One more round, tippy toes, so you're shifting the weight forward. Simultaneously, you're bringing your shoulder blades apart, maybe going slightly over the wrists, and then pressing back. Dropping the knees, positioning your forearms on the floor, interlacing the fingers, coming into the dolphin pose. So lift the knees and press into the forearms. If you still need the movement into the legs, so keep pedaling through the feet. Let's add the element of lifting one leg, the right leg, and maybe opening up to the right side. Bring the foot down and then lift the opposite leg and open up. And drop the foot down, drop the knees, extend your arms, lift the knees off the floor and press into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Press the mat away, bring the navel in and engage with the pelvic floor, so it's like squeezing the perineum, which I may describe as, if you would go for a wee, you would stop midway, and that's how you know that your pelvic floor is activated. Let's lift the right leg. Let's look forward and let's step forward. We're gonna drop the knee to the floor. We're gonna open up through the chest. And we're gonna bring the arms behind you and roll the shoulders back, sink forward with the hips. Stretch through the throat. And from here, release your arms. Bring your left arm forward, then twist. Bring your elbow just on the thigh, and then we're going to create the namaste with hands, so pressing and bringing your hands closer to the sternum. Okay, the back toes tucked in. That will give you a bit more balance. And then you can stay here and twist and look over the shoulders. If you find that you've got enough strength to lift the knee off the floor, you can do that. Engage with the back leg. Energize it. And then drop the knee to the floor. Release your hands forward. Lift the back knee. Pivot to the other side. Okay, starting from Anjaneyasana, but we're just adding a bit of a twist to traditional Anjaneyasana, which means that we are rolling the shoulders back, opening through the chest. I'd really like you to open up here, not only sink with the hips forward, but feel the strength in the arms, keep them strong, keep pressing with both of the palms against each other, and then stretching through the throat. And having a few breaths here. Okay, release the pose. Bring the body slightly closer to the center. Okay, so when you center yourself, so first of all, find the length with your right arm forward, then twist, and then bringing the palms together. Staying here, remember, Parivrita Parshva Konasana, revolved triangle, is a twist pose. So it means that
lifting that back knee is a bonus, and you will probably feel stronger, and you are working on strengthening through the lower limbs. However, if you choose to go just with the twist and have a supported knee on the floor, it's perfectly fine. I wouldn't recommend you to push through the pain, and if you're finding that it's too early for you to lift the knee, then just practice this pose for some time, and when you're ready, you'll know. Okay, release the hands forward. We're gonna frame the body. We're gonna step back into the Adho Mukha Svanasana. We're gonna drop the knees to the floor. Inhale, let's arch, look up. Exhale, let's round. Bring the knees off the floor, press into the Adho Mukha Svanasana. Drop the knees, arch through the cow pose. Exhale, cat. And whilst you're rounding through the back, lift those knees and then shift the weight slightly back into the back of the body. So pressing into the Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's lift the right leg up, look forward, round through the back so you can create the space, and then step forward. Rotate out both of the feet, and then so you are facing the side of the mat and bringing both of the toes now in. Remember, you're already here in the hinging from the hips rather than from the upper back. So flexion of the hips here. Remember to keep your knees soft if the hamstrings are tight. And for some of you, you may drop the elbows to the floor, interlacing the fingers. For some of you, you may want to stay with hands on the floor, but maybe bringing the elbows into the flexion. Your hands under the shoulders. Left halfway. Let's add the twist. So we're gonna lift the right arm off the floor, and you're gonna kind of thread the needle and maybe grab the ankle of your left leg, or you can drop without grabbing, just dropping the forearm and twisting, maybe just pressing with that left hand into the floor and adding a twist. Okay, back into the center. Okay, the other way. So your left, you can either grab the ankle from outside, from inside, or maybe you just decide to have a support of your forearm on the floor and pressing with your right hand into the floor, coming into that twist. Remember, knees, soften through the knees. And release back into the center, walk towards the right side. Square yourself at that time. Press back into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's drop the knees. Arch through the back. Inhale. Exhale, round through the back. Bring the knees off the floor and press into Adho Mukha Svanasana. 5 breaths here. Fingers spread. Pressing the mat away. Let's drop the knees.
let's bring the forearms onto the floor, trying to keep them parallel. If that's too much, you can interlace the fingers if you want to. Here. Lift the knees. Squeeze the perineum, squeeze the navel in. Drop the knees and press into Balasana, the child's pose. Peel the forehead off the floor. We're going to start building up towards the headstand. So you have a couple of options of the headstand. The first one will be, I would say, probably the most supported, in my opinion, how I feel in this pose, where I'm interlacing the fingers and I'm creating the triangle here. And it's important that you need to find the way to ensure that you do keep that triangle here, because if you go too wide, you feel you don't have much ground. Remember that triangle, that base, it's called the headstand. However, you do press into the forearms, into the mat, and you use your whole upper body to go into the headstand. So the weight not only supported by the head, it's distributed in the shoulders as well. So ensuring that you have that triangle, we're going to position making sure that you don't have any scrunches for the ladies. So your crown goes on the floor. You're going to lift the knees and you're going to walk forward. At this point, your feet may lift off the floor. If they lift, maybe trying to stack up hips, and then maybe trying to lift one leg at a time. And maybe then lifting the second leg. You can do different poses with the legs and then gently pressing back. So the points are here that I wouldn't recommend to jump into the headstand. So as soon as you jump, that's the risk. If you do have a wall, yes, it's quite daunting to jump and hit the wall, but as soon as you jump, you fall out of the headstand. So your starting point may be just walking the feet towards the front. So remember, round through the back. Then if they lift, you may want to have few position here by bringing the knees closer to the chest, and maybe then starting to bring the knees away from the chest. Gently coming back. Obviously, if you have a wall in front of you, I think that's also a mental safety blanket. So you also have the second option of a tripod. So with tripod, you bringing the hands about shoulder width apart. The crown of the head goes onto the floor. And then you may want to start by bringing and resting your legs on the forearms, on your triceps. You can start from here. And see, maybe lifting one leg at a time. I prefer the first one. This is not the preference, but I practice it more. I'm more comfortable. With a tripod, I find it quite unstable at the moment for me personally. And coming out gently. So I find the tripod requires much more pressing into the forearms, and I just find that I'm a bit shaky, so I'm working towards that. You could choose both of the options. Remember, if you're choosing the interlaced fingers, making sure you've got this triangle with the forearms, and walk your feet forward. And if you are selecting the tripod, maybe starting as a starting point, start with stacking up, maybe then raising one leg at a time. And obviously, if you've got in front of you a nice wall, that's always a mental safety blanket. Okay, let's get into the counter pose, which is going to be a Matsyasana, the fish pose. We're going to be bringing the arms behind us, so underneath us, sorry, and then lifting the chest off the floor and stretching through the chest, maybe the crown of the head reaching towards the floor. And exhale, gently release, bringing both of the knees closer to the chest and just opening up the hips outwards and inwards, so massaging the hip joints. Keeping your lower back on the floor. And we're going to gently rock forward, finding your cross-legged seated position, Sukhasana. Let's interlace, so let's bring the arms behind the back and just hug the elbows. Inhale, and exhale, fold forward. Gently with control, no rush. And coming back into the center. Positioning your hands on the knees. Start slowing down the heart rate. Just notice if the heart is pulsing away. Bring the deep breaths through the nose. And deep breaths out through the nose. Gently open the gaze, and from here you can go into Shavasana. Inversions are a very good preparatory pose for Shavasana, so we are accessing that parasympathetic nervous system before we can go into the full relaxation. Or you could finish off your practice, but I'd really recommend you to not to skip the Shavasana or preparing yourself for a seated meditative state for as long as your practice allows you. Thank you for your time, your energy, and I will see you in next video. Namaste.